welcome back to Bat Week, Bat Crafts. So, what are we making today?
Today we're gonna do some painting. On our website you'll find this PDF and you can trace these if you like, but you can also do your own bat drawing if you want to. We just have these as a guide. And what you're going to do is you're gonna need obviously a piece of paper and a white crayon, and we're gonna use watercolor today. A trick that I like to do when I'm tracing something is I will put this up against a window and then put the sheet that I'm drawing on top of it, and then you can actually really see through it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and you'll be able to trace it. So you're gonna trace the image or draw the image with a white crayon. And once that's done, then you can start adding your color. So I just got water here. And I'm just gonna start adding color, and you'll see the magic happen right before your eyes. So let's talk about why bats are important.
So bats actually are very important for us to maintain a healthy ecosystem because they provide a lot of ecological services. So example, bats, like the bats in Ontario, play a huge role in crop pest control. So essentially, bats can eat their body weight in insects almost every single night.
Whoa.
So that's almost like me eating 6 pumpkins every single day for all of my life. And by eating those insects, they help the plants or the crops that they're protecting from essentially getting eaten, which helps us because we don't have to use as much pesticides, which pesticides aren't as good for our health if we have to rely on it. But also, if we do need to use more pesticides to control, to help the crops out, that means that it's going to cost more money in order to maintain that. And if that costs more money, then that means our food is going to cost more money. So bats are helping us that way. But also, we have bats in the world that act as pollinators. So that's just like bumblebees and butterflies, that there are certain species, certain plants that would not exist without bats. For example, the baobab tree found in Africa, or also known as the tree of life, which you may remember from The Lion King, that is pollinated solely by bats. And in fact, the straw-colored fruit bat, which is a species of bat that we have here at the Toronto Zoo in the caves and burrows, is the bat that pollinates that tree. And that tree is important to many different types of
Other wildlife.
But not only wildlife, also the people that live in those regions rely on those trees. But some of our favorite foods are also pollinated by bats. Bananas, we wouldn't have bananas without bats, but also things like guava and durian, which is really important in Southeast Asia. Avocado, we have bats to thank for their pollination.
Cool.
But also, bats play a role in seed dispersal. So what that means is that fruit bats in particular, when they eat fruit, some of them swallow the seeds, and then when they fly, they poop out those seeds, and it helps
that makes sense.
the forest grow. Or you have bats that carry fruits, they pick the fruit from the tree and they fly away somewhere else, and then maybe they might drop that fruit, and then that fruit is capable of essentially growing into a new plant somewhere else, like with figs in the tropics, or mangoes.
Okay. So they eat lots of different types of fruits, and they eat lots of different types of insects. Is there anything else they eat that we haven't touched on?
Well, essentially, because bats are such a diverse group of animal, there's a species of bat that pretty much feeds on almost everything that you can imagine. So we have bats that eat fruit, bats that drink nectar, bats that eat pollen. We have bats that eat insects, bats that eat frogs, bats that eat rodents.
Frogs,
and some bats that eat other bats.
Whoa.
I know. But we also have vampire bats too, which feed entirely on blood. But don't worry, they don't feed, they prefer cow blood. and bird blood to people.
Would it be like a mosquito bite, or are they like draining a whole cow of their blood?
Oh, nothing at all. You wouldn't feel it. So vampire bats have very, very, very sharp razor incisors, and because they have a special saliva with an anticoagulant in it, whenever the bat makes a tiny little cut, that saliva is essentially going to make the blood flow, and it's not going to be able to clot as long as the bat is lapping. So they don't actually suck, but they lap at the little trickles of blood that come out. But it's interesting because it's their entire diet. They don't drink water. They get all of everything that they need
From the blood.
From the blood.
Oh, wow.
But they're also a very social animal. So if their friend is not doing well and cannot go out to eat, that bat, a different bat will go out, feed for them, come back, and then regurgitate.
Oh.
So that I know it's not very pretty.
It's all very Halloween-y gross.
A little bit of Halloween-y gross, but they're looking out for each other that way.
That's cool.
Example of altruism.
Okay, so this is kind of what I got going on over here with this piece of artwork I have. Really quickly came together, but now you can see the image really well. There's a couple more that I made, and gives you a little bit more of an idea, or some other ideas that you can do with this. So this is sort of the same thing. I used a whole bunch of different colors and just put them on there. There's no rhyme or reason. You can do whatever you want. You can use one color, you can use a whole bunch and just blend it all.
Now those look really great.
Yeah, and like this one, we had an intern here, Mila, and she made this one, and she put a silhouette of mountains and trees, and she added her own little stars and moon. And she also did this effect with like flicking white paint on there too.
Oh wow.
To add more stars. Yeah, so they look really great, and they come together really quickly and super fun. But just like I said, you don't have to use the images that we have provided. You can use any images you want.
No, that's absolutely fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, thank you for joining us here today. So continue to check Toronto Zoo Facebook media social page, Twitter, Instagram, as well as batweek.org. We'll see you for the next one. Bye.